All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get ahead and get started with our first panel, which is a panel session focused on the youths, thinking ahead with young leaders in our community. This session would be approximately an hour, and it will focus on what role young leaders have to play in, again, making sure that our theme, from vision to action, can be achieved. We're going to start with this brief presentation from Mr. Fieyim Ngonguo. I have on the stage here Ms. Jessica Fomenye, all the way to the far left, Mr. Cedric Metamo, and Mr. Fieyim Ngonguo. We're going to have Mr. Leslie Tite join us halfway through. So, Mr. Ngonguo, please.
Good morning. That's what I'm talking about. So from vision to action, the Cameroonian imperative, that was actually what stood out for me when I got the invitation to sit on this distinguished panel, to even take part in an even far more distinguishable annual Congress. Thank you very much for the opportunity, CPS. So for the questions that I'll be speaking to, and even my presentation focus, I'll be looking at things from a more systematic and structural standpoint with some reference to the human rights perspective, if you don't mind. So we always talk about Cameroon being in a very bad situation, but we hardly get down to specifics. And it's really very difficult to address whatever challenges that come our way if we don't identify those specific challenges and even get down to the roots of those things. So that's why I had to turn to the UNDP's Human Development Report to look at certain key indicators. And the report actually ranks human development at 150. That's the position, of course, out of 187 countries. So they had three key indicators: health, income, and education. So for health, for example, we had some really grim figures. Just take, for example, for every 100,000 live births, we lose 690 mothers, which is really crazy. And it's just one of the reasons why I'm so happy that we have people like Dr. Dennis Ferretia, who can, of course, help in this area when it comes to where we currently are in Cameroon and where we want to be, looking at the trajectory that we want to establish for Cameroon. Education also is really, we had some very dismal figures. Imagine having about 57.1% of our primary school teachers who are actually being trained to teach. What's been happening to the other just over 40% who are not trained to teach? What's that effect on us? And also looking at the income and poverty levels, looking at multidimensional poverty index, and of course the multidimensional poverty index extends to other areas such as health and education, and not just focusing only on the income level. And I'm sorry, I'll just be going through the slides for the sake of time, just to make sure that we get to identify some of the key things and the role that we can play as individuals and as a group. And this actually gives us a more graphical picture of where things currently are. The global average is, looking at it from a percentage standpoint, the global average is just below 70%, and Cameroon is, at least we're above the average for sub-Saharan Africa and for low human development index. So we are the green line, and that's just under 50%. And this also gives another form of the data in terms with health, education, and income under the Human Development Index, and that's the blue bar right there, which is just below 50%, or 0.5 the ratio. So I also looked at the 2012 Bertelsmann Stiftung's Transformation Index, which kind of gives us a more accurate picture when it comes to the socio-political sphere and where we rank also in terms of other indicators. So we have, like, in terms of political transformation, we rank at 93rd position, economic transformation 92nd, and management index. This also includes conflict management, and this is, I actually highlight conflict management because that's my main area of expertise, and I hope I'll help someday soon in line with this. I've already identified certain key needs in the University of Boya, and I hope to use that as a pilot project in order to show how they can handle certain conflict situations, because for the most part, when certain things come up, they always resort to a power-based approach in order to address those challenges. For example, the students usually have grievances that we know, and the students themselves immediately tend to strike actions. And the authorities also call in the police force, and that's how it goes. What's been happening to the interest-based and other rights-based processes that they can definitely use in order to manage those conflict situations. And looking at other things, I was actually elated when the chairperson of CPS highlighted some of the issues in line with the 2035 vision for Cameroon. We talked about the independence of the judiciary, and this report, the Stiftung's report, actually ranks Cameroon's judicial independence at 4 out of 10, which is very poor. We can definitely do way better than that. So there is definitely that need, after painting this brief picture, to generate a new level or group of entrepreneurs in Cameroon. I'm also very happy that Dr. Dennis Forestier identified the issue that Cameroonians today are far more educated than Cameroonians at any time back. And it's very important that we actually step up and show to the current generation and the generation to come that we actually made a difference, a positive difference, of course. And we are very ingenious, that I know for sure. We might not have certain empirical data in order to further expatiate on this, but we are definitely very ingenious. You and I know this. So we need to identify whatever gaps and make sure we fill in those gaps. It's very hard if you have to target everything at the same time. You cannot do it alone. You definitely have to partner with people. Identify your own area. Even if you do just the identification, you are contributing for sure. And there's also the need to embrace social entrepreneurship. For example, there is a shortfall of the provision of clean water in many localities in Cameroon. If you can actually take up a project that will enable people to have clean drinkable water, and you're making profit at the same time, not astronomical profits, of course, but you're making profits while providing clean water, that's the way forward. It's a win-win, definitely. And more Cameroonians today have access to internet-able computers than any time before. So it's definitely imperative on us to know what we are using those technological devices for, and that will make the difference for us. Even when I crafted this question on do university education and training equip us on marketable skills, I told myself it's a very simplistic question. What actually came to mind was the question on are natural resources a curse or a blessing? That's just another very simplistic question. But the truth be told, the certain trainings we get in Cameroon that equip us with marketable skills, but there are others that we really need to work on. Take, for example, in the University of Boya, there is a sociology and anthropology department. What do they really teach the students? Do anthropologists have to stay in the class for the most part? I mean, we have to ask ourselves these questions. And as youth, we are not all of us, though, but a reasonable number of people people generally in Cameroon, whether youths or adults, we are very apathetic when it comes to the political process. Apathy cannot bring the change that we are looking for. We have to engage. Even if it's attending town hall meetings, you are engaging. Even if it comes down to writing a letter to a local parliamentarian or maybe to the US ambassador to Cameroon, you're definitely doing something. And the little bits that we do will end up form a whole. And there are also times that we are always thinking about policy issues at the national level. There is also leadership at the grassroots level. Like I mentioned earlier, if you identify that there is a shortfall in the provision of clean water in Cameroon, you're actually doing something at that level to make sure that people have clean, drinkable water. You are providing leadership. You're taking part in the political and social life of your country. So just to conclude, in whatever thing we do as individuals and as groups, they should be geared towards contributing to at least one of the three things that are essential in any society. Regardless of the political system of that society, regardless of the economic system, the state system, and you name it. And these three things are, the first, peace, security, and stability. The second is sustainable development. And the third is the respect for human rights and the rule of law. And talking about the rule of law, I'm not just talking about the mere existence of laws. I'm talking about laws that we can definitely question at any step of the way on how best and how well they are serving the people. I'm talking about laws that are fairly initiated, equally applicable to everyone across the board without any degree of favoritism or discrimination, and laws that are independently adjudicated. Thank you.